whatever path you are on, whatever inspired you to come here today, we honor you and we welcome you. And now, our message.
Who is, I don't know if this would be accurate, I'm not even going to ask. She is I'm going to say a biblical scholar.
I'm scared now.
You got something to live up to. Now, Dr. Janeen is a personal development coach. She studied theory at the Baptist Bible College in Springfield, Missouri. She received a bachelor's and a master's degree of science degrees through the University of Metaphysical Sciences. She obtained her doctorate through the Minnesota University School of Metaphysical Sciences and her PhD in transpersonal counseling. I'd say I'm pretty close to being accurate. I also, I'm introducing her and I'm building it up, and I want you to know that today is not it. There is a workshop she's going to be doing on the 18th of Saturday at the Carriage House, the Sanchez Center, on conscious parenting. So if you're interested in that, there is a sign-up sheet in the back. And today she's going to speak to us about 7 statements of Jesus that he made on the cross. So I invite you to listen and learn. Dr. Janeen.
I already feel in the tradition of my Baptist preacher daddy to say, I've been to church. This has been wonderful already. Starting with Russ's meditation that he guided us in, and all the way through to the choir's 2 songs. Honestly, I felt a little bit like a Quaker. Have you ever heard of that spiritual tradition? That was a nickname that other people gave them. They called themselves the community of friends. But when other people observing their worship would see how they connected to the source and connected with Mother Earth and how that energy was flowing through them without restriction and unrestrained, their bodies would quiver and quake. How many of you feel that? I feel it already. It's amazing. We're all Quakers. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Back when I was only a Christian, this season meant something to me. It sure did. But as I have progressed in my path, and I am no longer only a Christian, but I am also a Christian.
Yes.
This season means much more to me now than it ever even did back then. As I get to travel all over the world presenting awakening and healing workshops, many of my students have asked me, Dr. J, that's what they call me, isn't that a cute nickname? Dr. J, what religion are you anyway? We can't quite figure it out. So you know what? Over time I made something up. I made up a name. I said, I'm Cremor Buhi-ish. And they say to me, Cremor Buhi-ish, what's that? I just chuckle and say, Christian, Mormon, Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish. I'm a little bit of everything while being nothing at all. Just like all of you. So it feels so good to be home with all of you, because I know that's who you are too. God is ineffable, and therefore so are we. So I try to define it, confine it, and put it in a box, right? Exactly. My Baptist preacher daddy might say something like, preach it, sister. Every now and then that tendency comes out in me. I hope you'll get used to it. But along my spiritual path, as I was exploring so many of the traditions I was inspired to explore, I've come to love them all. And as I've opened up my mind to studying more and gaining more knowledge, the eyes of my understanding were opened. And I am beginning to see the correlations between all of them. How that energy we have come to call God is inspiring each and every one of us, through each and every one of us, with different pictures and symbols. Well, today, because it is Easter, and that tradition is largely rooted in the Christian tradition, we're going to borrow some teachings today from the exemplar Jesus, who learned how to live in the Christ consciousness in such a way that he transcended the pain of the physical body on the cross and was able to be completely alleviated from suffering, which is meaning that we add in the emotional body and in what some traditions call the spiritual body. We add meaning that, oh, this is bad. Jesus was able to experience himself in his humanity while remembering who he really was in his divinity. And the statements which he said on the cross. My crown chakra blew open one day, and I realized, oh my goodness, he's teaching our creative process. As he expresses the 7 statements, he's teaching our creative process. It blew my mind. I thought, why didn't I ever see this before? Back when I was attached to one right way to be thinking, I couldn't say it differently. But when my mind had become open to seeing more, I realized not only do the 7 statements of Jesus Christ on the cross teach us our creative process, but within the Bible itself, there are many processes which are taught in 7 steps, all of them indicating our creative process. Well, I won't have time in today's message, of course, to go through the correlations with all of those indications in the Bible itself. I'd have to come back at least 3 more times to give you all those details. But it's amazing to me how the 7 days of creation in Genesis, the 7 Beatitudes Jesus Christ taught, the 7 letters to the 7 churches in the book of Revelation, John's revelation while exiled on the Isle of Patmos, the characteristics and attributes of the 7 churches that were written to, and the 7 seals recorded in the book of Revelation all indicate our co-creative process. They're all teaching the same thing with different pictures and symbols. It blows my mind. I will draw a few correlations with these 7 days of creation today as we go through the 7 statements of Jesus on the cross. But it's also amazing to realize that the number 7, metaphysically, is absolutely important in every spiritual tradition, isn't it? The number 7, therefore, seems to me to indicate there are 7 stages in our spiritual process of moving into our new consciousness, which Jesus Christ called the kingdom of heaven being within you. The 7 last statements of Jesus on the cross are not found in any one gospel. They are mainly oral traditions because the 4 gospels weren't even compiled and written down until between 25 and 60 years after the events which they actually detail. So, 3 of them are actually recorded in one of the Gospels, 3 in one of the other Gospels, and then 2 of them are recorded in 2 of the Gospels, written by Jesus' disciples as he walked during that incarnation. The first statement of Jesus on the cross, indicating the first necessary step we must each undertake in order to create that which we choose to experience. This is recorded in Luke 23:34. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Everyone you have ever perceived as hurting you is themselves in that moment suffering, adding meaning that there is something they should be afraid of, and so they're acting and reacting out of their fear. Their fear of what they might not get, their fear of what they might lose. So in that moment, they're not actually being themselves, are they? The person who they really are is divine, just like you and I. Only in that moment, they've forgotten. Forgiveness, this releasing of judgment, this releasing of the victimhood consciousness is the first step in our creative process. It is necessary that we let go of thinking they did this to me. And realizing that the person you really are as a divine being cannot actually be hurt. How do you hurt a divine presence? When we are identifying with ourselves only as a body, ACIM, A Course in Miracles teaches, that is the only time when we can really think we've actually been hurt. We've been robbed of something. If we are thinking of ourselves as this body, this incarnation is all there is, that's the time when we add the meaning which makes us suffer emotionally. But when we're remembering who we really are, like Jesus Christ on the cross, having suffered physical pain, he wasn't adding meaning that anything eternally bad was happening. He was therefore able to bear the human experience he was going through at that time. So this releasing of blame, releasing of victimhood, is our first step in our creative process. The second statement of Jesus on the cross. Oh, I want to back up and draw one more correlation. Notice how allowing ourselves to see things differently and not be in victimhood directly correlates with the first day of creation, as mentioned in the book of Genesis. Let there be light. Let us see it differently. Let us see it with a new perspective so we're not in victimhood. And now the second statement of Jesus on the cross. This is recorded in Luke 23:43. Truly, I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise. This is actually Jesus responding to one of the two thieves who were in this story being crucified on both sides of him. One of the thieves refused to take responsibility for the consequences of the cause and effect in his life. The other thief, to which Jesus Christ addressed this statement, that you shall be with me in paradise. He accepted the consequences of his actions. He accepted that as he radiated out the energy of his choices, what he brought back had brought him here in this experience. So the second statement of Jesus on the cross causes us to realize that when we accept responsibility for what we have created in our lives and how we are seeing it, we are then at the place of peace, which we can call paradise. And from this place of peace, you may have heard this place of peace called 0 point energy. When you are in alignment with your power to choose. And your power to choose from that place of accepting responsibility, you can create it differently. That's your point of power. So the one thief who wouldn't accept responsibility was not going to be able to be in that state of paradise, which could then create it differently. The thief who accepted the responsibility for how he was seeing it and the meaning he was adding, which caused the effect in his life, was brought to that place of powerful peace so he could create it differently, the place of paradise. This is interesting, the correlation with the second day of creation. Because in the second day of creation, the firmament was divided, indicating choice. the darkness from the light, the land from the waters. Our power to choose how we want to see it and how we want it to go. The third statement of Jesus on the cross, he said to his mother, and this is recorded in John 19:26 and 27. Woman, here is your son. And then he said to his beloved disciple John, here is your mother. In modern vernacular, we call this the law of attraction. Gathering like unto like. The energy of love radiating from Mary and the energy of love radiating from John were a like energy. It's not dissimilar to the reason why Jesus Christ talked about gathering ourselves together as we are right now in this moment to support one another, to encourage each other. It's the amplification of energy principle. Interestingly enough, the correlation with the third day of creation is the sun and the moon. Opposition that when we have to experience and recognize that choice brought me something I will call darkness, I don't think I'll choose that again. And that energy that I radiate brings me love and support to make a better serving choice. Statement number 4. All of us can relate to this feeling. Jesus is now honoring his humanity and being fully present with the pain that we sometimes feel in our human experience. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt like you're divided from your source, you're separate from your source? You wonder if you're ever going to be connected again? Notice how Jesus did this without resistance to it. He didn't try to pretend to be all that and he had it all together while he's up there. No, he was recognizing his human pain, indicating to us one of the stages of our creative process is not being in resistance to the what is. This is what I'm feeling now. This is where I'm at right now. This is what I'm experiencing as God having a human experience. And as he allowed himself to experience it, together with this awareness of the pain he was currently in, notice how he's also still hopeful that God still is. He's simply raising the question. He's simply raising the question, which can yield the energy of inspiration of the new answer. Why hast thou forsaken me? Comes with an underlying awareness of the presence that there is God. So it remains very hopeful, even while it is acknowledging the pain and not being in denial or resistance to it. Because what is denial? It's a resistance. Oh no, I don't want to have this experience. Oh no. Let's bring it to some real world examples because none of us have been hung on a cross lately. Oh no, I don't want to have this experience of my son being a drug addict. Oh no, I don't want to have this experience of my wife divorcing me. Oh no, when you're in resistance to what's going on, not raising the question of your divinity, how can I see this differently? Allow deliverance to come. Allow me to experience this so that I can be reinvigorated in my awareness of who I really am and who they really are. When we're in resistance to the what is, we're actually stopping the flow of the energy of the universe, which otherwise would have flown in and out, just like breathing. Feeling it, feeling it, feeling it. My God, this is painful. And then it leaves. When we're not resistant to the experience of the emotions which well up within us, they pass far more quickly. There is one little condition to that. We have to not add thought energy of analysis. Why did this happen to me? How come? Is this because my teacher slapped me when I was in 6th grade? Is this because my former mother-in-law was such a... When we don't add thought energy to the feeling energy, we're not compounding it, adding energy to it, making it worse. So we literally allow the energy to flow through unresistant. When we stop thinking, zero analysis, and just let ourselves experience it. It flows through and does not stay stuck in. And Jesus Christ is being our exemplar here to honor our human pain. Isn't that what we're here to support one another in? Recognizing our divinity while not resisting our humanity. And then the 5th statement of Jesus Christ on the cross. Again, honoring his humanity, but being hopeful that his longing for something better could be satiated. I am thirsty. In so many spiritual traditions, thirst is a word picture indicating a longing, a deep desire right from in here. To see it differently, to create it differently, to experience something more, to have a new experience. This deep longing is energy that Jesus Christ was radiating to create it differently, because he moved a lot of energy in the universe when he sent out those waves of vibration, acknowledging his strong desire. Do you know that when you're passive, you're not creating anything? How much energy did I just move in the universe with that? Did you feel any vibrations? But when it comes from here and it's a deep longing, you're moving some energy in the universe. And the entire universe conspires together with you to bring to you the fulfillment of that which you are choosing to create. Hallelujah! Yes! The entire universe conspires with you for you to have everything you choose to have, for you to experience everything you choose to experience. Even in the midst of our most intense spiritual involvement, our human dimension must be acknowledged, respected, without resistance, and appreciated, while we are simultaneously knowing that that thirst can be and will be quenched, satiated, fulfilled, manifested. The 6th statement of Jesus on the cross, John 19:30. It is finished. At some point in our creative process, we realize my work is done. I've received all the promptings. I've taken inspired action on all that I was told and shown to do. My work is done. And I release it to the universe, not unlike our science of mind affirmative prayer. I release it to the universe so that all the energy of the universe can conspire to bring it to me. It is finished. It may not be manifested yet. Jesus was still on the cross, but he knew his action steps were complete. And now all of the energy of the universe would bring it on. He saw the manifestation of that knowing on the morning we're celebrating today, when he took the body back up again, because he knew he was not a body. in powerful knowing that he could take it back up again. So when he said it is finished, it hadn't actually manifested yet. But he knew in that glorious statement that it would. And so it leads directly into his next statement, the seventh statement. Now that his work was done, his action steps. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. This is the relinquishing attachment to the old story. Relinquishing attachment to what it used to look like and how it used to be. And allowing old things to be passed away, and behold, all things to become new. In our surrender to needing to do anything else about it, there is a deep sense of trust. A trust and a knowing that everything is working for our highest and greatest good. We are being brought exactly where we are supposed to be. We are powerful creators, here to experience our humanity so that we can fully know our divinity. It inspires me to see the final statements of Jesus on the cross as an affirmation of what Jesus was creating by moving through his human, painful, spiritually challenging process. He was creating an expression in physical form of our eternality of life. An enduring example, encouraging us to dissolve our fears and move forward as he moved forward to create a new consciousness. Resurrect with me again today into our awareness of who we really are as powerful creators, letting that old story be gone. Happy Easter.
Thank you for blessing us with your presence today and being a part of the Satya Center. You're invited to join Reverend Allie and Reverend Lyle each Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for your dose of connection, inspiration, and co-creation. The Satya Center is located at 795 24th Street, Ogden, Utah. For directions, a map, and our service times, please see our website, thesatyacenter.org. This program was brought to you by the kind donations from the members of the Satya Center. Thank you.